Hey guys, this is Jay Doran, CEO of Culture Matters, and I'm here with
Michael Ferraro, owner of LLA.
LLA. So I want to talk about who is Mike Ferraro. Wait, first, is it Ferraro or Ferraro?
I think it's.
Let's straighten that out for everybody.
It's Ferraro.
And
Okay.
it's Doran, not Doran.
It's Doran, it's Irish,
Yes.
not Doran, which I get a lot. So we're talking about who is Mike Ferraro today, so might as well start with the name.
Yeah.
So how did you get in real estate? Who are you, man?
Okay. So, who I am and how did I get in real estate? Well,
Yeah.
I'm from upstate New York.
Yeah.
A town called New Paltz.
Yeah.
It's at 18 off the Thruway, and it's a small little town. Graduating class of maybe like 130, maybe less, depending on the year. And I was an athlete all my life. My mom was a teacher. My dad was a teacher. And a football coach, and we were it was a small blue collar town, and athletics all my life. I ended up going to Southern Connecticut State University. I was an All-American swimmer there. I was an exercise science degree major, and that's why I was going to be a teacher, just like my dad and my mom, and teach phys ed and coach swimming. That's what I was going to do. I ended up meeting my wife through teaching. She was also a teacher. Fell in love, got married, had a kid, and the whole story. But what ended up, how I got into real estate was...
Yeah, because I just want to put this out there. You sold a lot of real estate.
Yeah.
Okay, so that sounded like the white picket fence, the dream of everyone in the whole world before World War II kind of happened or something. Yeah. And then you got a real estate. How much real estate did you sell?
This year we did over, this year we over...
The full year that you were... Because how long you been in real estate?
I would say it's about 2 years. The first year I didn't really do much.
Okay.
I'd say about a year and a half of full-time real estate. So I never tracked numbers before.
Got it.
So I'd say of the last 12 months, we're around 22 to 25 million, maybe more.
Wow.
If we get into the closings that we literally had yesterday, which
Yeah.
is the big ones.
So just getting in the business, though, you're doing more volume, and now 80% of agents aren't even in the business within the time.
Yeah.
That's the point I want to make. It's why do people even care? Seriously, within 18 months, when 87% of people aren't in the business,
Yeah.
you've done 30 million almost, 25 million,
Yeah.
and you were just an average kid.
I can tell you right now that how it ran into itself was that you get to a place, if you're a natural entrepreneur, business person, if that's inside of you, you're going to run into a time in your life, it could be when you're older, hopefully you never let it just pass you by, or when you're really young and you realize that's what you want to be, when you come to a crossroads in your life, and you realize that living a certain way, getting compensated a certain way, having the needs and wants and means to be able to feed your family or take care of yourself or others around you starts to go up directly and create friction with what's really inside of you. So if you're a natural entrepreneur, a business owner, a person who doesn't want to have a ceiling, who wants to be able to know that how hard they work and the knowledge and what they can create can equal the lifestyle that you want, your hopes and dreams, then you're going to have a really tough time being at a place where 95 or 99% of everybody else just feels safe with it and feels that I'm okay with being compensated by what somebody else feels I'm worth. Because it's just different. So I had always that feeling inside of me, but I went with the lifestyle. It was always in there. Right. So
and you just went with the masses.
And what happened was now I get put in a position where I've done the safe route, and we still were having a hard time getting by.
Yeah.
And now I have other people in my life for the first time that I have to take care of, and a lot of people's wives or their families, and there's for good reason, because reality smacks you hardcore in the face.
How did it smack you in the face?
Well, we've talked about this. The biggest thing for me was my son and my wife, and my thought was doing this real estate business and getting into it. And the first year, I said, okay, I need to have a business where I can make as much as I'm willing to work for, and it's on me, it's on my shoulders. And the first year, I was the statistic, just like you talked about. How does 87% of real estate agents quit after the first year because they don't make enough money, it's not worth it, they're part-time. I was the statistic the first year. I did everything that the first-year agent would do, where you're just trying to figure out what to do and how to make this work. I found, and we'll talk about later, I found the thing that created everything for me, which was the calling and how I created my business. But when it came time to doing the hard parts of what real estate really requires you to do, when most people would quit, my son and the idea of having to go back to my son to tell him no, daddy was too afraid to get told no, or too afraid to handle an objection, too afraid to take care of that phone, too afraid to make that phone call because of what somebody else might say to me, so we're not able to have these things. I was never okay with knowing that was what I would have to say to my son. And that,
so is that what pushed you to do what you had to do?
That pushed me over a lot of the hurdles, because that was kind of my why. That was the reason why I was going to push myself harder. I was not going to be afraid to be in this business where you could fail at any time, and you fail way more than you succeed, and you also are hitting roadblocks every single day.
So average Joe, right? Because that's what it is. Average Joe, average life,
Yep.
doing what we think we're supposed to do,
Yep.
what our family wants to do. Maybe something we actually enjoy, right? You're a teacher at heart.
Yeah.
Okay. Something happened where, that moment, where you realized that things weren't going to keep going this way.
No.
And what was inside of you had to come out.
Right.
So you got into real estate. Was it an all-out full-time approach at first, or was it like you got that first year, it was like the part-time thing?
Oh, yeah.
And that's what, okay, I just wanted to clear that up. So that first year was like...
So I took the approach like anybody else. Now, you got to remember, okay, and this is probably similar to so many other people. They have a job. They have a steady job.
Yeah, you have that job.
They're having a hard time getting through. They know that there's an opportunity. Everybody wants to be like the $1 million listing people they see on TV and do all that stuff, but they don't realize what that entails. So they say, okay, I'm going to do this real estate thing part-time. So I got my job over here, and I'm just going to try to sell my friend's house or do something like that. So I went in part-time, and because I didn't have the knowledge, because I wasn't, I didn't have that kind of time to devote to my business, you can only see so much. So I started to realize that the more I was learning, as soon as I found something like cold calling and for sale by owners and expireds, the business became something that was tangible now. I could do this. And what happened was the world kind of aligned for me in a weird way, and I think it did that through the energy that I was putting towards real estate and not putting as much towards this other salary job, where I said, okay, I'm going to step into this full-time real estate thing. And I stepped into the full-time real estate thing, not with the huge chunk in the bank account, and not with a lot of money coming in, and not with a lot of listings, but with
something. What was that?
With basically that fear, that thing I wanted, I talked about with my son, which was not being afraid to say, Daddy was too scared to take that chance.
So Daddy was too afraid to say to his son, hey, you can't go to college because, well, I didn't call a stranger today.
Well, for me, we were living in an inner city area where, we live in an affluent area in Connecticut, Fairfield County, which is pretty affluent.
And that's today. And that's after you called the stranger.
Well, what happened was...
I mean, let's be honest, right?
What happened was...
You overcame fear, and now you moved out of...
We were in kind of the inner city area. We had bars in the back of the door, and it was 1,300 square foot townhome, and little like a condo. And I would watch my son, who was not even one at the time, play outside in the parking lot. And I'm like, how am we don't have enough money for a down payment. How am I going to get us out of here? And I was looking at this life, and I knew what the next 20 to 30 years, because if you're a salary position, you could sometimes be contracted out to what your next 30 years is going to look like.
Yeah.
And like, I can't do it. That was now causing friction. And I knew that the real estate was an opportunity to do that, but I had to be the best at it. I had to work really hard and all that stuff. So jumped into it, and then I had the success that we had. A certain way, which we'll talk about how I created that and what I did. But
today,
the rest,
who is Mike Ferraro
I'm
versus the Mike Ferraro?
And
what's the takeaway for someone watching?
I think I am not different at all from the person that I was.
It's inspiring.
I just think that the difference is the person that I always was, I'm allowed to be now in that full run. I was always a coach. I was always a teacher. I was always the best brother, the best son, the best husband, the best dad I could be. But now with the career that I feel like I don't have a ceiling on, I can be the full true entrepreneur that I really felt like I should have always been in this business. Now I'm free, and it's interesting. I was more. This is a independent contractor business. It's commission, but I'm more stress-free and happy than I was when I was just getting my checks. When you knew you were always getting your checks.
Yeah.
Because it's on me, and I'm okay with that.
You're taking responsibility.
100%. So I'm that same person. I think I'm maximizing everything, and it feels so good when you could try to take everything you are or want to be, and you could shoot out, like for yourself and what you do. If I was to isolate you and said you can only do what you could do and somebody else box you, eventually you're going to drive yourself crazy because you can't be contained in that way. It's freedom. You have freedom to fail and freedom to be super successful, but it's freedom. And if you're willing to work hard and you're willing to do the right things and gain the knowledge, you're going to be okay with that, if that's who you are inside.
What's the one thing that you could leave with someone watching this from your experience that maybe could wake them up to who they could be in 2 years living not in where they were and where they could be? And if you had to sum it up in one word in a sentence.
One word in a sentence?
Yeah. One word in
One
a
word.
sentence following it.
One word and then put it in a sentence.
Yeah.
Man, jeez.
Yeah, I know,
Not
that's a
good
big
student.
ask.
I was not a good student.
It's a big ask.
Um,
Right? If you were to, because whatever transpired, it's energy.
yeah.
So a word that describes that and like what that means to you.
A word that you could probably go in so many different directions, whether it be love.
Okay. I like that word.
Yeah, yeah.
I
would
like
say
that
love.
word.
Yeah,
And what does that mean?
So many. I mean, you can start to go into a dissertation of loving what you do. Love, just this really heavy love, so much for others, and that you want to help them, that you're willing to put your own fears and everything away.
All right.
Because it's so heavy. I mean, you could take the love in so many different. It doesn't. Everybody just thinks love means just all the fluffiness.
No.
It goes a lot of different directions.
Gandhi's love won the freedom
Right.
versus the British.
So you can put love, passion. You know.
I like
there's-
love. Let's keep love.
Love. I mean.
Guys, I love you. This is Jay Doran, CEO of Culture Matters, Mike Ferraro,
Yes.
the LLA, and we're not afraid to love you. We'll see you on the next video.